Here at Swapper Shopper, I don't want you getting ripped off. It's not just the retailers who are doing it, it's the manufacturers. Sometimes they produce a product that's less than perfect. And what does you, as the consumer, do about it? Probably nothing. Well, I was tucking into some Jammie Dodgers recently, and the taste wasn't to my expectation. It's not that I'm picky, it's about I'm paying a price for a product, and I want it to be perfect. So if it's not perfect, what do I do? Well, yes, you'd be usually right and usually sit and do nothing about it. However, that's not the Swapper Shopper way. Swapper Shopper would do something about it. And that's what I did. Here is one of 4 packs of Jammie Dodgers that I got completely free. How, you say? Well, it's not because Tesco were feeling generous. Far from it. It's the case where the manufacturers are accepting liability for their own faults with their own products, as they should do. So I'll explain. One day, I was eating some Jammie Dodgers, and yes, this is going to be a dramatic story. I was eating the Jammie Dodgers, and the biscuits just tasted too crumbly, too overbaked, they were too golden. Not extremely, I could still eat the biscuits, but they weren't to my expectations. I knew something was up. So what could I do about it? I could sit and do nothing, as 99% of the population do. Or I could go to Tesco. Tesco wouldn't really care, they're a retailer. They'll just probably say, okay, here, have a refund of that product. Still doesn't change the matter. What about if you go to the manufacturers? That's where I had a brainwave. Now, years ago, I had a problem with Walkers. Now, the problem was simply they lacked flavour. Now, on that occasion, I'm pretty sure I got a box of a few 150 gram packets, or there might have been 175 gram back then. But with biscuits, I wasn't really expecting anything. Now, for such a cheap product, for about 85p in Tesco, I wasn't really expecting the manufacturers to care. Now, if you haven't noticed, the manufacturer's information is at the bottom of most packets. So I thought I'd get in touch, because these Jammie Dodgers were not meeting my expectations. Yes, it gets even more dramatic. I sent them a very well-worded email. No dramatic Karen kind of references to say, I demand this. None of that. That's not the Swapper Shopper way. What I decided to do instead was write them a kindly worded email, basically saying they didn't match my expectations, here's some photos of the products, making sure to copy in any kind of product information that may be on the packaging that may assist them. What I got back surprised me. The manufacturers were actually keen to look into the problem. Now, whether or not it was a load of just spoof text to try and get rid of me, just copy and paste, or whether or not they actually care, that's up to them. But the end matter is a consumer like me gets reassurance that they are in the right. Now, what happened on this occasion is Burton Biscuits, who manufacture the Jammie Dodgers, decided to give me £4 worth of coupons, / vouchers, whatever you want to call them. That meant that at 85p a packet, I could just about get 4 packets of these biscuits completely for free. I paid for a 5th just so I had 5 packets in, but it meant that I had replacements. Now, this is one of the packets. I've already started eating them to give them a test, and trust me, they are much better. Now, it may be that they're from the same batch, but here's why it doesn't matter. You, as the consumer, you matter more than you think. Your purchasing power has huge implications on these retailers and manufacturers. Don't believe me? If every single person in the UK stopped buying Jammie Dodgers, what do you think the manufacturer would do? They'd reach out, they'd do taste testing sessions, find out why people aren't buying them. Are they too expensive? Are they too biscuity? Do they need more jam? What's the problem? Buying power has more staple power than you think. And you need to make sure that you're using that power to your advantage as a consumer, especially in the ever-growing market of everything being overinflated in price. And if you don't believe me, check out my previous video in which I discuss some banging barbecue crisps. They're more expensive than you think, so you need to go and have a look. But in the meantime, I would recommend that you use your buying power to your advantage. Contact the manufacturers, not specifically of Jammie Dodgers, only when you have a problem. But if there's a problem, make sure your voice is heard. That's the Swapper Shopper way.